hello there. Hello. Welcome to the Bookroom Comedy Club. I'm Jennifer Kirk and I'm here to welcome you along. It's great to see you. I hope I find you well. And, today it's going to be a return to the Bookroom Comedy Club. We've had a few of these sessions before with the monkey. So it's really just a case of getting you all warmed up. If you're on the Zoom call, then feel free to heckle, but don't heckle too much. I'm not sure whether we actually get to. I'm not sure whether we actually get to hear anybody's vocals, but at the end of the day, I'm getting a nod from the monkey. But what it actually does mean is that we have the technology to mute people if you cause too much trouble. But cause a little bit. That's okay. But I hope everybody's doing really well. It's been really, really hot. And I'm not talking about the good kind of hot where it's like, oh, yes. But no, it's been sticky hot. Anyway, no, my humour is pretty rubbish because I haven't prepared anything, but I know somebody who has. So without further ado, will everybody put your hands together for the mistress of mayhem? Put a monkey in your cupboard. You know you want to because, well, it's just what you need on this Sunday evening. It's a little bit cooler than it was, but here to hot things up, we have the monkey of mayhem. Can I welcome? I was going to welcome myself there.
Hello to yourself.
I was going to say welcome Jennifer Kirk, but no. Welcome to the Cupboard Monkey, aka Zoe Kirk-Robinson. And come on, everybody, put your hands together and welcome to the stage the monkey, the Cupboard Monkey, Zoe Kirk-Robinson. Okay, woo!
Well, thank you very much for that, Jennifer Kirk. Wow, it's good to be back. You know, I have to say thank you so much to Jennifer because without her, I literally would not be here. And I can say that for certain because when we were talking about moving house, I was actually planning to go to London. Jennifer wanted to move to Manchester instead, so we compromised and moved to Greater Manchester because that's what you do in a marriage. You compromise. Jen is looking at me like, what? You didn't tell me that? I did. I told her many times, we're going to move to London. But no, I was going to make it big. No, I wasn't. So many people go down to London thinking they're going to make it big. Some of my friends did. When I was at school, they all moved. And then after a few years, they moved back because...
You did make it big, but you did it with pies.
Thank you for jumping in and getting the punchline there, Jenny. Apparently, I made it big with pies horizontally. I actually got asked once, so are you pregnant? Like, no, I'm just fat. Unless the person who managed to impregnate me is called Greg, I don't think it's going to work out. It's just one of those things. So I want to start off by saying that this is the first of the return to the Bookroom Comedy Club. It's going to be one of those situations where essentially I am trying out some routines and some new jokes and new topics for chat and for the gigs that I'm going to be doing. These shows won't stay up forever. The idea being that we will eventually have a situation where I can make a special and that'll go up and that'll stay up because that'll be nice. But these shows, they're going to go out as kind of a live thing. If you blink and you miss it, well, I'm sorry because I will be doing more and more of these. The idea is eventually to do 2 or 3 a week and also be out gigging and doing other stuff. But at the moment, you kind of not able to do that too much because the pandemic has caused issues. But this is the first time that we've also been having a Zoom audience. So there are some people who are watching this via Zoom. There are some people who are watching it via YouTube. I'm trying to get the best of both worlds here. So hopefully we'll be able to get people in the background who can hear this. And maybe if they laugh, then that'll be nice and it'll come through on the live stream. If they don't, that's no problem too. Especially if any of you on the Zoom call who have noise in the background and don't want to share that, that's perfectly fine. Mute yourself and just enjoy the show. That's perfectly fine too. So, with all of that out of the way, let's begin. So, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And you might have noticed I'm a little bit moist because it is hot here. And so many people I've seen on the internet going, oh my goodness, look at that. Isn't it so cute? The little cold Britain country, it thinks it's hot. Isn't that adorable? Well, it is. 30 degrees C might not seem that great for someone down in the Mediterranean or in the desert, but here in the UK, you've got to remember that this place is moist. There's a lot of water in the air. Basically, you've got to remember that Britain isn't actually an island. It is at the moment. We think of ourselves as an island. But if you go back to the start of the Ice Age and all of that, Britain was actually joined to Europe. It was part of the continental shelf, and it was just a big flat plain. So all the people that were there, they wouldn't have thought of themselves as an island. They would have thought of themselves as part of this giant landmass. And then the water started coming in, and a few of them went, that water's getting a bit close there. Ugh, Grog, do you think we should move? Because I don't want to get my feet wet. So they started to move. They went for higher ground. And the ones that followed the guy who'd noticed that the water was coming in, they went to higher ground and they became the British. The ones that didn't, they stayed in the plains where everything was nice and there were lots of animals and encroaching water, and they became archaeology because it's gone now. So essentially, Britain is just the high part that didn't get flooded, where the bit that's not quite as damp as the other bit, the bit that joined us to France. So you've got to remember, Britain is wet. So when you get lots of heat and lots of wetness, it's kind of like a sauna. The entire country right now is basically a sauna. If it gets any more moist in the air, we're going to have to all go and work out the secrets from Norfolk about how they grew their gills. Just a little bit of an inbreeding joke there. Sorry, everyone in Norfolk, if you've got technology and can actually hear this. Don't worry about it. So that's just the situation. So when everyone goes, oh, isn't it so cute that Britain thinks it's warm with its hot weather? Oh, isn't that adorable? Just remember, you're not the ones who have to live in a sink, essentially. Oh, my goodness, the weather. Oh. So I have been restarting my comedy, as you can see. Sorry about that. I'm going to have to drink a lot today because it's so humid and hot. I'm restarting my comedy, and I never actually intended to have 8 months off. We did the Book Room Comedy Club last year and finished for December because the idea was we're going to have Christmas off because, sometimes you want a bit of time with your family, which it turned out I couldn't because I got COVID and had to stay home. But everyone else wanted a bit of time with their family, and I wanted to be able to breathe. It's just one of those situations. I've heard that it's a bad idea to stop breathing. Once you've tried oxygen, you can't stop. It's one of those things. It's very addictive. So I had to take a bit of time off. And the idea was we'd come back in January with new episodes, and we'd get going again. 8 months later, we've got going again, because it turns out that when you stop comedy and you tend to restart, it's very much like DIY. You intend to do it, and you will do it. You'll get round to it. Just not right now. You've got something else. It's a bit busy at the moment, so I'm just going to go and watch these shows. I've got to catch up on my shows, man. This stuff, it won't watch itself. So you go off and do that, and then something else important comes along, and you just never get round to it. And then after a few months, your wife is really, really angry with you, and you don't know why. Is it something you said? Probably. But you don't know what it was. And then you eventually think, oh, I was going to go and do the comedy, or put up some shelves, or I don't know, clean a table, I don't know. Whatever it was you've been putting off for the rest of the year, you eventually get round to it. And that's why we're back. So, welcome back. And this is essentially a very long-winded way of saying, I didn't mean to be lazy. It just kind of happened. And it's a lot of effort to get out of that. So that's just how it is. But while I've been away, it's actually been quite interesting because my shows that are up, the 5 that are up, that will stay up. The comedy that we're doing now, it's kind of more ephemeral. But the ones that are there, they're staying. And they've garnered a few comments. And it's quite interesting what the comments are. Because we've had some interesting types through. And one of them was hilarious. And he said, You maroon, you wouldn't say that about Biden, all those things you said about Trump. I'm translating here. I actually had to work out what he was saying because the spelling was not great. But you maroon, you wouldn't have said that about Biden, what you said about Trump. And you know, he's absolutely right. Well, not about the maroon. I mean, look at me. I am far from maroon. Also, I'm not a very small cannon that makes a lot of noise. So any kind of maroon, wrong on all counts there. Worth investing in a dictionary, I think. But he is right in one topic. I would not have said the jokes that I said about Trump if it was about Biden. And I've got a very, very good reason. I think you'll agree. Everyone will agree when I explain why I wouldn't have said what I said about Trump if it had been President Biden instead. And the reason is, now stop me if this gets too scientific for you. They are different people. How's that? It's just one of those situations. So let's just think. If I were to have said to you, you know, Joe down the street, he really does think we should build a wall on the moon and get Mars to pay for it. Joe down the street, he looked at the moon and it moved across the sky and he thought the Ayatollah had come and stolen it. You wouldn't have known what I was talking about. You don't know Joe down the street. You don't know whether he's mental and really thinks that's the Ayatollah has gone and stolen the moon, or that's we want to build a wall on it. But you have a picture in your head of President Trump, and you've seen the sort of things that he says, and they're crazy. He's not really thinking before he speaks. So he says silly things. And as a result, you've got this mental image where you think, actually, he might want to build a wall on the moon. He might think someone's stolen the moon. He might think all of these stupid things. He might actually climb under his desk and refuse to leave the White House. I kind of called that one in December. I kind of called it. All the trouble that was there. I really wish I hadn't. I really wish I'd been wrong, but I could have. I kind of called it. So you know that might have been true, and therefore you can laugh. But if it was Biden, I'd have had to have a different joke. And it's as simple as that. So yes, they're absolutely true. I would not have said to jokes about Biden the way I said them about Trump. I'd have used something different. Like, we know in Britain very few things about Biden. He hasn't had time to really bed in, what with the pandemic essentially taking up all of the news. But we do know two things. The first, on his election campaign, he had a tendency to smell people's hair. So we know Biden smells people. We also know from the G8 summit that he doesn't like press conferences because he walked past all of the press and wouldn't talk to them. So he smells people and he doesn't do press conferences. We can tell from that. If I tell you that, we can tell something. I don't know whether that is the president or a poodle pretending to be a president. There's the jokes that we can make about Biden. When we get more information, we'll make other jokes. But for now, he's basically a poodle in a suit. He smells people and he doesn't do press conferences. You wouldn't put a poodle in a press conference, would you? Actually, I would like to see that. So please, Americans, bring your poodle president and give us a press conference. Ask him what his favourite pedigree chum is or anything like that. Also, I do know one more thing about him. He has this tendency to use strange phrases like, China's going to eat our lunch. If we don't do this, they'll eat our lunch. Can someone please feed the president? He's the president. Give him a sandwich. He's got access to the nuclear button. You don't want this guy getting hungry and a bit shaky when he gets low blood sugar. Give him a sandwich so that he stops talking about people eating lunch. I can't believe they don't feed the president. It's very strange. But speaking about getting confused, because let's face it, we all do sometimes. There is a lot of confusion around at the moment. Because I was looking the other day at some of the recent developments in science. And by recent, I mean like last 10, 20 years. I still think 1990 was 10 years ago. I've got to that age in my life where my brain has decided that time can just do one. It's decided 10 years ago it was 1990 and it's stopped. So in my head, the Backstreet Boys are still around. Like, everybody, yes? Rock your body. Why? What would that do? What? The Backstreet Boys, please explain your lyrics. What would rocking your body do? Because this is what rocking your body looks like. What's that going to achieve for you? And also, when you go to the gigs for the Backstreet Boys, did they actually indicate which direction you should all rock in? Because the last thing you want is bumping into people. You'll end up with loads of injuries at these gigs. Anyway, what I was talking about was easily confused. So, I was looking the other day, and scientists have changed the name of a continent. I was looking on a globe because I'm a nerd, and I found this thing. What is Oceania, or Oceania, or however you pronounce it? When did that arrive? What happened to Australia? You can't just change the names of continents. That's not fair. I had to have a test on that stuff. I had to learn this stuff as a kid by rote and then have tests on it, and hopefully I passed. It's been a long time. I can't quite remember. And now they've gone and changed the names. That's just cheating, that is. That's someone who got it wrong when they were a kid and finally got to a position of power and has decided to make sure that their test results are right. That's what that is, and I am not having it. This is not happy. This is me being angry. So there we are. What's going on here? And then another thing, Pluto's not a planet anymore. This is not fair. I had to learn these things. There were 9, when I was a kid, there were 9 planets. Now we've apparently got 8 and some dwarfs. What's going on here? When did Snow White get into the astronomy business? What's going on? This is not fair. You're just confusing me now. That's just really, really bad. Although, having said that, I do know why Pluto's not a planet. It's because we found Eris. And it's bigger than Pluto, but appears to be some kind of Kuiper belt object. And I can go on all day about science. I am a nerd. But it does kind of fit that Eris, named after the goddess of chaos and discordia, would cause a bit of a mess up in the astronomical community. I do like that. It's kind of on brand for her. But even so, 9 planets. Give me Pluto back. It's not fair. I learned this stuff and then you changed it. It's not fair. Scientists, they have to be stopped, man. They're getting too much power. So you look at all this. Like, what else has changed? We've got no Pluto, and it's kind of there, but it's not in the list. We've got a different name for a continent. Do I even live in Europe anymore? No? What? What happened? Europe. They're now saying it shouldn't really be a continent. Never mind the Brexit thing where, yes, we do you live in Europe, but no, we don't live in the Europe that you're probably talking about. Europe as a continent shouldn't exist. That's what the scientists are saying now. And I really get annoyed with this because it's been there for hundreds of years, guys. We know it's attached to Asia. We know it all should be one giant continent, but that's too big and kids won't remember all of it, so just leave it as it is. Stop giving all these scientists all this power. It's not right. That's why we elect politicians. We want people who don't know anything. They can make the decisions, not getting bogged down with facts. Come on, this is just wrong. What am I talking about? It feels sometimes with all these changes like someone's waited until we all went to bed and then they've installed the latest update patch for Earth. And I think that's actually what happened. Someone went over to Earth's control room. I don't know where it is. It's probably in a volcano there somewhere. And they saw a sign that said, "Would you like to install the latest update for Earth?" And they clicked yes, because they're an idiot. Never install the latest update. You should not do that. Look at your computer. If you're told there's a new update and it's brand new that day, do not install it. I'm sorry, guys. Wait for someone else to do it first. Check what it does. Because clearly, the update for Earth, the last update, went wrong. And that's how we've got COVID. It appeared out of nowhere because someone updated Earth, and now bats are transferring diseases to humans because 2 files got linked in the background, and they were supposed to be patching something else, and it didn't work, and now we're all sitting in our houses getting bored to tears. That's what happened. I guarantee that's what happened. None of this stuff did it come from a lab. No, it came from a bunch of guys who were doing their job because they were the lowest possible bidder, and they updated this thing and didn't know what they were doing. That's what it is. So now we're all stuck. I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's clearly Billy's replacement software patches.
Jenny suggests it's Billy's replacement software patches. Now, this is a joke that we've been doing for a while. Anytime there's been a big knock or too loud a volume or anything like that tonight, that is because tonight's show is sponsored by Billy's replacement speakers. True story. No, it isn't. What am I? Oh, but it's true because we have now got this illness and it's changed the world. But we've got the vaccine now, and it's going to be good. So we've got to change in our mission. We have to now get the vaccine and get the economy back on track. We've had our med kits. The vaccine's turned up. We've had the med kits. Now the temperature is going up. We've got to change an environment. Has anyone checked whether we've autosaved? Because I've played enough computer games to know that this is all the run-up to the final boss. If we get to New Year's Eve and we survive until the ball drops on New Year's Eve, right at midnight, and then all of a sudden we're presented with a cutscene that has a sequel hook in it, you know that we're in a computer game. So tune in next time for more. And this time it's going to be personal because it's New Year. It's your year. You're going to do it. Everyone else can get out of the way. It's your year. Why do we say this to ourselves at New Year? Say, this year is going to be my year. All of you lot, you have other years. You just get out of the way. This is my year. I'm going to make it a success. I'm going to do the things I said. I'm going to get in shape. And I'm going to go and get that new job. And I'm going to do all this, that, and the other. And then you wake up in the morning and you've got a headache. And you think, oh, well, it's day one. I've messed that up. Might as well see what's on TV. We do it every single year. We make these plans. We're going to change. We're going to do it, man. In a minute, when I feel a bit better, we're just lying to ourselves, man. And that's how we are. Every single person is lying to themselves about it. But that's just the situation we're in. Speaking of weird situations to be in, just imagine if you're stuck at the South Pole and you're asking for directions. Can you imagine that? Hi, I don't know how I got here, but I kind of need some help. So, my friend here, can you direct me to McMurdo Station so I can go home? Why, of course I can. Right, here's what you do. Take this straight road north. Keep going north until you find the snowdrift. You'll know which one. Then, when you get to the snowdrift, turn north and keep going until you find the bank in the road, and then turn around the bank in the road and go north, and you'll get to McMurdo Station. That's what happens at the South Pole. You cannot get directions at the South Pole. Everything is north. Like, which north? That north, and that north. Well, actually, it was that north over there. So you got it wrong. I think about strange things. What can I say? It's one of the situations that happens when you have chronic insomnia because I failed to learn how to get to sleep at night. I mean, everyone has that 10,000 hours of learning to get to really good at something. Well, I did 10,000 hours. And I still can't get to sleep. It's one of those annoying situations. I have managed to get 10,000 hours and highly skilled in the wrong thing. It's just how it is. But at least I can have a laugh about it. And that's really what we want at the end of the day. I want to tell you a true story now because get back onto back on track. Why am I on about the South Pole? So the other day, I went out to put the rubbish out because I have a high-flying, great life. It's non-stop action here. So I was out there putting all of the recycling out into the bin. I walked out, put my hand on the bin to open it. I had a bottle from the recycling in my hand, opened the bin, and immediately a fly landed on my lip and tried to climb up my nose. Now, I don't know an awful lot about you guys, but I think we have all had that situation where we've thought of ourselves as the hero in our own heads. We have plans in our heads. We all think these things through. Of what we would do in certain action sequences and certain films. Like, I wouldn't have done that. I'd have done this, that, and the other. We get those ideas in our heads of how we would be the hero. But when you get into a real situation where there is trouble, doesn't always work out the way where we expect it, because I'm here with a bin in one hand, an empty bottle in another, a fly shopping for real estate in my right nostril, and my responses that I had planned out, all of my action sequences and my cool, witty one-liners and everything that's in my head, it went away. And the only response I had was one thing, And I think if you were in my situation, this is what would have happened to you as well, regardless of anything that you have thought up about how you would have handled that situation. You would work the same way I did. Because this is what I did. Bin in one hand, bottle in the other hand. Ah! That's what I did. That's what you would do. Do not lie. Because I've got this creature in my nose. I've never snorted wildlife. I don't know what the usual mechanism is. But this thing is up there going, so, well, this seems pretty good. This is a lot of real estate. Is it close to any good schools? Because I'm going to need my offspring to go and get a good education. I mean, they won't be sitting at the desks, just proper fly-in-the-wall stuff, you know. You don't need to laugh at that joke, don't worry. And meanwhile, I don't know how to get this thing out. So now I've dropped the bin. It's slammed. The bottle's back in the recycling. And I'm clambering around looking in my pockets for a tissue, breathing through my mouth, going, please go, please go, please go. And then blowing my nose and hoping for the best that this thing has gone. I don't know where the fly went. I hope I don't see it again because now it knows my weaknesses and I am not looking forward to round 2. And then once that had happened, then my heart rate had come back down. All I could think was, Mom, there's a fly in my nose. Come and help me make it better. I am 40 years old, married, do not live with my parents, but my first response is the same as your response would have been. You want to run home to Mummy, like she's going to know what to do. There isn't a page in the parenting handbook that says how to get wildlife out of your child's nostrils. No one gets trained. Doctors don't get trained for that. But when this push comes to shove, and you are in the bad situation that I found myself in, we all want to run home to Mummy. So, I think at this point, Jen, we should probably say it's about time to wrap up unless people have questions. Are there any questions or statements?
Well, there's actually been a lot of people in. It's been really great to see you, and you have gone down pretty well. There's no lead balloons in this Book Room Comedy Club night. So just want to say hello to, we got, off the top of my head, from memory, George Botterini's been in.
Hi,
Kevin
George.
said, Southern Train Girl, J94's been in as well. We had New Junction as well. Great to see him in as well. Quite a few other people as well. Sorry if I can't read the screen from here. But you did really well. Even when I was pulling funny faces at you, you actually got through that. But what I'm going to do is you stay there. I'm just going to go around here. And let's see if we've had any questions. So, no, not really. But people really did like your snorted wildlife joke. But I'm going to hand this back to you. But well done. It's great. And just let everybody know when the next Book Room Comedy Club is going to be.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming, guys. Like I said, this is going to be like an ephemeral thing. It's blink and you miss it. There will be more. Well, there will be more episodes. A lot of it is about doing the jokes, refining the way the jokes work, and being able to present again. So the next episode of the Book Room Comedy Club will actually be on Wednesday night. Some of the jokes that you've heard tonight will be here again, and they'll... Excuse me. Oh, I'm drinking so much bubbly stuff. Sorry. And they'll be more refined because I'm practicing and learning my way. And then the next big one, the next week's worth, will start again on Sunday because that's what we're going to do. Sunday nights, definitely 7 o'clock every Sunday night. But during the week, there will be other regular things. There is a reflection in my glasses, Jen. What are you doing? Stop pulling strange faces. That's just weird. Jen is trying to put me off because she is here to help me practice for the inevitability of when I get out to the clubs. That's the main thing. I want to get to the comedy clubs again and do some actual open mic nights. But like I say, the big one will be Sunday, definitely there. There'll be a one on Wednesday, most likely. There might be other ones as well. We'll see how it goes. But until then, thank you so much for joining us. It's been amazing. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that you've had a good time. I'll see you next time. Jenny, would you like to close?
Well, look, thank you very much for that. And if everybody put your hands together for Zoe Kirk-Robinson, a.k.a. The Monkey. We put a monkey in your cupboard tonight. Actually, no, we let the monkey out for a while to run around and fling their poo at you, and it really did go down quite well. So thank you, everybody who has turned up. It's been great to see you. We've actually had a pretty reasonable, steady audience in, and a little bit of activity in the comments, but actually I think a lot of people were actually watching you, Cupboard Monkey, which was really, really good. So it's just really got time for me to say thanks, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Zoe, for putting on a great show. And despite the fact that it is actually quite warm here, I think she's done ever so well. Didn't she do well? And also don't forget that the Monday Club is on tomorrow night at 7 o'clock UK time. And you can catch another dose of the Cupboard Monkey, Zoe Kirk-Robinson, along with myself, doing the stuff that whatever we feel like for 2 hours. But until then, it's just got time for me to say you take great care of yourself. Thanks for coming. See you next time. Bye for now. Oh, sorry, I thought I had to strike a pose and like.
You're very good at this comparing.
Am I? No, I thought it was going to be like the end of Naked Gun, where everybody just goes. And then there's one person who's just like trying to strike a pose or criminal trying to escape. But yeah, look, anyway, come on, just turn that off.